Okay, back over here. So I need to put the snap ring in the case here. So as you come in from the top, I like the groove to be on the top so the bearings have the least chance of going through. So you just lay it in there flat and just lightly tap it down with a hammer. You rotate it around. So you want to push it, the two tangs into the groove here. Okay. So now the clip is in there at an angle. So this one's below the groove, this one's in the groove. Oops, too far, too close, way too close. So now we're going to hit on this side and we just pull it back up and it should pop right up in the groove. So you just flip it around and give it a light kick and it should go right in. Quite a bit of tension on this, so it can fight you at times. So you can use a screwdriver, I use a punch, works a little better. Go to the highest spot wherever the curve is at and hit it on that side. Pop! I don't know if you heard it. It did. So it's trying to come out on this side now. So you pop in all the way around over to here, and then from here out it's coming out slightly. So you just kind of push it in like that. It's in. Usually I take my punch and hit it this way to make sure it's in there. If it rotates in the groove, it's in the groove. If not, it will drop in pretty quickly. Okay. It's now in there. You want to make sure it's completely in the groove, otherwise it can pop out. I have seen that happen. So, all right, that one's good. I got our transmission over here. I'm going to go ahead and pre-assemble this a little bit. Make sure all your bearings are lubed. Especially inside the clutch gear. It's going to take a while before any oil gets up inside of here, so whatever you put in here now, that's all it's going to get for a while probably. Now if this big ball bearing gets dry, you need to get some oil or something in there so when you first start the bike up it doesn't go squeak, squeak, squeak. Because it'll sound like a rat running around in here on a squirrel cage. Whenever you hear that, shut the motor off, let it sit for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, start the bike up for about 2-3 seconds, shut it off again. You do that 3 or 4 times and the oil will splash all everywhere and it'll drain into this bearing and the one inside the clutch basket. And the squeak should go away. If it doesn't, then you got a problem. Okay, now this has a bushing way down deep in there and I can't get to it with my finger. So we have to do it a different way. Someone put a seal over here, so makes it hard to get in there. So we're going to snap up the end of the shaft here and use that to go in. So anyway, all these little tricks you do, you learn over the years and what causes what. Okay, so let's lube this up. Now this gear has a little bit of a lip on this side, a little shoulder. I like having that toward the trap door. It's flat on this side. You also want to make sure that you have clearance in this gear, this little small gear, because if this is a press fit, this is the only clearance you're going to get. If this is loose on the shaft, then the whole length over here will go back and forth, you'll have clearance, but you have to make sure you have clearance built in here. If you push this in all the way tight in the press and put together, this will burn up in here. And there's no oil on this, but it'll sit down in oil, so it'll pre-lube itself. That's why you always start the bike up and shut it off a couple times first. It helps lubricate all these parts that aren't got any oil on them. Okay, so I'm going to lubricate this, small one. Okay, there's 2 washers somewhere. There's one of them. The other one's over here stuck in there. So now this has an edge in here it's supposed to catch onto a little bit. So I always like putting the radius side in here so it doesn't burn up on this thing. Both these washers look pretty new, so there's no real dull edge to use. So just stick it on there, make sure it's lubed. Good to go. Okay, we got our shift fork over here. Put lube on the roller. Put the roller on there and lube it a little bit. Okay, this one's a plus 20, I think it was. There it goes, plus 20, which means it moves the gear up. So more than likely that goes on this spot here. Doesn't need much oil in there, just a little bit. Okay, there's the neutral. Goes up. Easy on these forks, this one goes down and the one down here comes up. So easy, this is a plus and the other one's a negative. In this case, this one here I think was standard. Yep, standard. It's marked right there, see? But if you're not sure where it goes, you will know in a minute real quick, because it'll let us know. So just kind of wetting it up a little bit, don't need much in the way of oil on that either. And we get our shaft right here. So this doesn't need much. It's going to get oil on it pretty quickly, so just kind of moisten it a little bit. Show it all the way in. Okay. Here's our gear. Goes on there. We got this. Now this here is one of the noises you get. This runs way high RPM when you're neutral, and there's no oil up here. This is the one I burn up on my race bike. I run my race bike at about 7,000 RPM for about 30 seconds to a minute in neutral, and it'll weld this thing right to the shaft every time. See, it's dry. So this one I do something to put oil in here. So a lot of times what I do, I'll take some cable lube and I'll just spray it down in there, down these splines, just to get something down in there so it's not dry. It's too much of a pain to take it apart and lube it correctly, so we just do it quickly. You can also throw a little bit of motor oil in there or something like that too, but cable lube comes in handy for more things than just cables. There you go, so you just put a little bit right in there like that. It should soak on down in there eventually. There it goes here. You also come around this side over here and put a little bit from this side. Oop, spray on me now. Most of the noise is because it's rubbing on the gear over on this side. It's got oil in here there. Okay, so it's lubed. Okay, now we're going to lube up this shaft here. There's a bushing down here and there's a roller bearing here. This one already lubed, but we didn't do the bushing. I can't get my finger in there, so we're going to do it this way. The bushing is loaded by the clutch basket and the primary chain pulling on it. So you burn it up if you don't have oil on this thing. Alright, so like this. Last thing we do is the low gear. bushing in here, lubricate it. Like that. There we go. Okay. We haven't checked our washers yet to see what we need. I take a little bit of grease and put it on the thrust washer. That'll help hold it in there. Oil's not enough to hold it. It'll still fall off. Grease will hold it pretty good. Just push it all the way down in there. Perfect. Okay, now you just look at your dogs and make sure they're still even like they're supposed to be. Looks good. I think we got what we need. So you got your gap in there, your gap in here, and you got the same gap here and over here. So it goes back and forth. So that looks good. Everything rotates like it's supposed to be. Yeah, that's good. I don't put oil on the gears because, you know, put transmission lube in there, it all gets lubed up pretty good. Have to worry about it. Okay, I'm gonna go clean my hands. I'll be back. Okay, we're back. Get my hands cleaned up a little bit again. Getting too much goo on them. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and get them all oily some more. Okay, we gotta lubricate up all of this stuff here. So we're going to lube up the cam bearings and the pinion bushing hole. We also need a little bit of oil over here in the shift shaft hole. A little grease probably, we'll try to get some oil on there. I think we're failing on that. And I got that lubed up, please. So, lubricate up your bearings here. These I put 2 wads of oil in there, 180 apart. Spin them around with a finger, make sure they rotate good. So you take a little bit of here and you put on the top. Take a little bit more, you put on the bottom. And you rotate them. If you feel any binding in there, get rid of them. If you hear them rattling around, they're dry. Put more oil on them. What you doing, Scooby? Scooby's wandering around looking for something. Past his dinner time again. Oh well. Okay, that's good. Some oil down here on this one down here. There we go. Take our Timken bearing again. So we'll get our case, so we got to put the case back together again, so we got to lube it up. Don't need much on it because we already did it. Just a little bit, that's all you need. Okay. I think we got everything lubed that needs to be lubed. For now, anyway. Get the lube off your fingers so your tools don't get all gooey. That's always fun. Alright. My installation tool. Right here. make sure your washer's still here, your spacer, Timken bearing. Very important. Do not forget to put that back in there. Some burrs on my sleeve right here from rough abuse for some reason. Someone's been abusing my tools. Wonder who that was. You want any burrs on there, they'll catch you and cut you. In the lower part, when we put the seal on there, will get in the way. Pretty big burr on there. Trying to get my external hone out and give it a go. Yeah, this will work for now. Got most of it worked off. Alright, we don't like having burrs in our tool. That ain't working. This doesn't want to go through the seal for some reason. I think I destroyed the seal. Whatever, I don't like it. The seal's all mashed flat from the weight of the case laying on it. And I was pushing on it. I was pushing right on the seal, which means I'm pushing on the spring underneath the seal, which means the spring is probably damaged or junk at this point. So I don't like that. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this case back off, yank that seal out, replace that seal. We don't want to have a bad seal in there. I'm not going to pull that whole piece out because that thing went in there hard. We are going to get rid of that piece. Okay. This is probably on there just enough it's going to drop and fall. Alright, let's see what happens here. Nice. Right off the block. Okay, let's see what we did for damage here. So now that I got the load off of the seal, you can see how it's pushing up against the bearing here a little bit. It's below the surface here quite a bit there. So right now the seal's rubbing on the bearing pretty hard, which is not good for it either. So I'll go ahead and jam the screwdriver in there and yank it out of there. That'll definitely destroy it. If it wasn't already destroyed, that's going to destroy it for sure. Alright, let's see if I did any damage to it before. Looks like it was undamaged until I yanked it. Yeah, the spring was still good. So I didn't hurt it until I pulled it out, but it was in too deep, so it was going to rub on the bearing and chew itself up anyway. Wouldn't have worked very well. It would probably leaked oil. Okay, so get ourselves a new seal. Well, this should go right through there. Okay, well there's my problem. This one will not go through a seal. The big twin one will go through a seal. This one doesn't, so any pressure I put on this, I'm pushing right on the seal. It will never work. So that means we're going to leave the seal out until after the crank is in. We'll have to beat it back in with a hammer. Okay, so that'll be fine. Alright, I dropped the crank a little bit. I don't like it, so I'm going to go check the crank. So I'll be back.